Hello and welcome to AIMBOT, where we are going through Reddit and looking at people's posts and finding out who is right, who is wrong, who is good, who is bad, who is up, who is down. But it is consensual judging and it is solicited judging, where we will go in and only judge those who are posting. So thank you for joining me. This is a Wednesday over here. Hope you are well, middle of the week. And I hope you're doing all right. I'm doing fantastic. I love this session. I love starting up. I do have to upload a few more things, and I do apologize for not being the best at uploading. I do have to get my editing schedule down. I'm kind of all over the place at the moment. My editing schedule is not great, but I have other stuff to do, and just sort of going through, trying to get myself organized, which is very hard for me. If you're unfamiliar, I am on sort of the spectrum, and I am sort of ADHD, so I have issues getting things in order, but I am working on it, I promise. And I will try to get more of the good stuff posted, and maybe even try and get some more debates. Hello, Grayson. Good to see you. Good to see you. First off, let's get up the Reddit polls. Now, if you haven't joined me for AIMBOT before, we're going through trying to use secular humanism as a mode of determining sort of the oughts, the moral systems. Now, if you're unfamiliar with sort of moral systems, don't worry too much about it. All that we're looking at is sort of what somebody ought to have done in some sort of situation. That's basically morality boiled down to a nutshell. What all things considered, what someone ought to have done or what somebody ought not to do. So if you think somebody ought to stop by the side of the road and help somebody else who's broken down, then that's basically a question of morality. What ought they do? And a lot of people believe that sort of moral systems are relative. You know, that ought to stop and help somebody. If you're late for something or have something on, it may not be a good idea to stop and help. It may be at severe detriment to yourself. So you know, most of us think that morality is sort of a relative thing, depending on your circumstance and the circumstances involved. If that person, you know, broken down by the side of the road, you know they're a criminal, it's probably not a good idea to stop and help them. That's not what you ought to do. Oh, hello, Al. Good to see you, mate. Really good to see you. So Grayson's here, Al's here. Fantastic. But a lot of people just use their intuition. Like, how do I feel? I guess I agree with Alex O'Connor that there should be some sort of formula we can use, something more we can use to say what ought to have somebody done. And this is sort of trying to put it into practice with real life situations. But I don't want to just go around saying, oh, this person ought to have done this or ought to have done that. It's very hard to know the circumstances in somebody's life to be able to judge them like that. Like, you might not be aware of all the circumstances. So we're going to leave it to people who are literally asking us to do so. And that is sort of a Reddit post of Am I the Asshole? To say, hey, now, how would I go about that? I do apologize if you have sort of heard this before. I have been over it before. I kind of think that really what I would do, or what I really want to do, is sort of look at because you have things like consequentialism, and I'm sorry if you've heard this before. Consequentialism basically say, well, you look at the consequences rather than something like virtue ethics, where you look at the virtues. So if we say, oh, you always are brave, kind of thing, that's virtue ethics. It's basically saying these particular properties or these particular virtues of somebody, these particular aspects of somebody are either good or bad. The problem with that is, I don't think it's, you know, just take that example, bravery. I don't think you always ought to be brave, right? So if there is, and the police say a lot, like, don't get involved with, you know, police, you know, if there's a shooting or something, call the police, don't get involved, don't be brave, don't run into a burning building, basically. It's a good idea because that may lead to worse outcomes. That's just basic consequentialism. You I don't believe that consequentialism can cover it itself, because you have these scenarios where, if the consequences turn out well, then it's a good action. It's what we ought to have done. And the problem with that is you get scenarios like, well, if you try and shoot someone, you miss and hit a criminal that was about to murder somebody, then that is a good action. And I don't think it is, because your intent was never to do so. So I think that, from my point of view, I think that we really have to look at the reasonable outcomes of intentions. Like, if you go and run into a burning building, is it a reasonable outcome? Can the reasonable expected outcome be to save the person or to die in the fire? And if the reasonable outcome is to die in the fire, then probably ought not to do that. And that, you shouldn't do that, basically, because if we can say, hey, this is what we expect to happen under any reasonable understanding of the world, then it's not a good idea. And I think that covers those scenarios where, for instance, I think Always Sunny in LA had one where somebody called out a racial slur and it saved, made somebody look around and saved their life, kind of thing. It still wasn't the right thing to do, because saving their life was not the expected outcome of yelling a racial slur. We're really looking at a terrible outcome. Anyway, let's get started. But that's sort of the way that I'm applying it. So I can look and see, does the system I have for morality actually hold any water with real life examples? Real life examples, of course, being Reddit, because they're asking for it. They're asking to say, hey, is it right? Is it wrong? And of course, you will have a chance to vote. I always do polls. I want to know what you think, because it's not really enough to say, hey, this is right and this is wrong. The question is, why is it right and wrong? If it's just, well, I feel that way, I don't know how we can sort of put down sort of what people should do, because we all feel certain ways about things. How do we then implement that? And it's sort of the moral emotivist is one that says, hey, morality is just intuition and feelings. We just feel certain ways about things. But I don't know how we come to any agreements when that's the case. If I feel that it's right and you feel that it's wrong, how do we then tell who's right and wrong? How do we then evaluate who was right and wrong? How do we put into place any kind of evaluation system? Yeah, I know, Big Bad Mama, I know. But you're only half joking, because you do have reasons why you think it's right and wrong. Like, you do. I know you do, because you're in chat telling me all the time, which I love. I honestly love. Okay, so first off, am I the arsehole for excluding my brother from my wedding because of his fun facts? Maybe. It depends what his fun facts are. Are his facts, in fact, fun? Or are we talking like fun facts, that the government is trying to control you through 5G kind of thing? Because it depends on what those fun facts actually are. I mean, I love the way they put it in, quotation marks, fun facts. Maybe it's just the fun part, Actually, that's not true. Maybe it is facts as well. Like, they're not actually facts. I have an older brother, David, 41. 41? Okay. David has boundary issues and was in the learning disabled classes. Okay, that's kind of sad. My parents never let him out of the home. He has a very rough personality, and because he was never allowed to work or do anything, so in his 40s, he doesn't have friends. Oh, that's so sad. He still dominates the conversation at every holiday with fun facts and goes off on those and doesn't realize no one is listening. It sounds like he has communication issues, or maybe autism. Learning disabled classes. I'm not sure. My other siblings and I really don't like David because my parents let him do whatever and just dominate whatever social settings we are in. My older sister eloped because of David being my mum. My older sister eloped because of David being my mum kept trying to find David a place at her wedding. Okay, I'm getting married to Mel, and my youngest brother Nick is my best man. My sister, who is close to Mel, is in the bridal party. Her husband is one of my best men and their son is a ring bearer. My wife wants a real wedding and not be forced to elope like my sister did. Well, I mean, forced to elope is a pretty strong word. David has no place. He's not going to be invited because the first thing he did was insult the ring. I got my Mel. What is this person's English? Is this AI generated? He's not going to be invited because the first thing he did was insult the ring. I got my Mel. What was his fun facts about how diamonds are worthless and do not resell well? Well, I mean, that is a fact. Diamonds are actually very, very common, and it's only sort of most notably the De Boers family of South Africa that will hoard them, so don't sell anything but perfect diamonds to make them more valuable and make more money off them. So that's not entirely. I think I would find that interesting, to be honest with you. I should have got her a second-hand engagement ring or a coloured stone engagement ring. We then got a history on engagement rings and marriage tradition. We tried shutting him up, but he wouldn't. And my mum said, let the professor talk. Even at 40, she thinks my brother's fun facts are cute. Well, I mean, I would find that interesting. I'm sorry. Like, maybe it's you. This put a hard no on Mel's stance that my brother can't come to the wedding. If my parents defend him even once, they are not coming. She not having wedding like my sister. Wow, you need to learn English, seriously. And it's time for David to be put in his place. My mum called and asked about wedding planning. I told her she wasn't involved after what happened to my sister's wedding dress shopping. Mum brought David, who told everyone his fun facts about wedding dress history. That's when my sister decided to elope. I think that's a bit extreme. I told Mum if she and Dad want to come to the wedding as guests, they can, but David is invited. Mum didn't talk for a while. I think she started crying because my dad took over the phone call. I told him what upset Mum and said that David isn't invited. Mum can't be trusted to involve in the wedding plan without David tagging along. Dad said he doesn't understand why we all hate David, and I told him what was wrong with him is his fun facts. My dad said the boy likes to talk and there's no harm in it. I don't know if you can say the boy about someone that's over 40. I'm not sure if the boy is really accurate at that point. You know, the man likes to talk is probably. I told my dad the thing, there is harm in David's fun facts and no one wants to be around him. My dad started arguing stuff in defense of David and told Dad we're a stalemate and I guess all three of you won't come to the wedding. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. I ended the conversation with my dad, and my mum has been texting like a crazy person to everyone about how we all need to understand David. What I'm doing is mean. Mel feels like the whole thing is, why can't I invite David or my parents? I agree they can't even be trusted to come to my wedding without sneaking David in. Look, I think they are kind of being mean. I kind of feel like he's autistic. Just from a point of view, he's obsessed with these things. There's ways to address that. I don't know if anyone's heard of double empathy. Double empathy is it basically means that people who are neurotypical and people who are neuroatypical can communicate just fine. The problem is with the boundary between them. Either neurotypical people or neuroatypical people communicating with each other, and that's the problem. But what they found is that people with ASD, autism spectrum disorder, can actually communicate more effectively with each other than neurotypical people can communicate with each other. They're incredibly effective communicators. It sounds like you are a neurotypical person who doesn't like communicating with your brother. I really don't know. I think they're probably over exaggerating things. Like seriously, I kind of feel sorry for him, but at the same time, if he is upsetting other people, we've got professionals and stuff that can help with that. I don't know why. Mum took David to the wedding dress shopping. I would have walked out the moment I saw him. Mel was there and said it was all for my sister. They cut they short. David said he wanted to come. Okay, so maybe they're over. Is wedding dress shopping only? Sai, your brother is showing every sign of being smack in the middle of the autism spectrum, and your parents responded by clutching to anything they could to preserve their sense of normalcy. He's just a talker. Actually, I got to do the survey, don't I? The poll. Give me 1 second. So, is the poster bad for refusing to let wedding? I've got a feeling that this next post I will 100% agree with. Give me 1 second. I will copy this over. I feel like he's on the autism spectrum, and he's just not like. Not only are they handling it bad, the parents are handling it bad as well. Sort of. So, just sort of going along and minimizing, sort of going, oh well, you know, if you just do this, he'll be fine. No, he's not going to be fine, and he's not going to understand. You need to get help with this. This is actually a neurological disorder, and it sounds like it does cause disorder in his life. You can't just expect this to work itself out, especially if the guy's 40. um, I get that some people don't know what autism is and don't understand it, but damn. Um, yeah, your brother is every sign is being smacked in the middle of autism spectrum. Yes, and your parents respond by clutching to anything. He's just a talker. Let the professor talk. He doesn't mean any harm. He'll be heard, the only one left out. Without giving his siblings any semblance of an education about the neurological pattern your brother was born with, or any skills for setting boundaries and not taking his speech patterns personally. Then your mum went mama bear and is even more prone to feeling the sting of leaving out that he is. I highly doubt he cared about not being invited dress shopping. Yes, correct. Don't respond to fire with fire. Just keep some firm boundaries. Mel's, if they defend him even once, they aren't coming. That's unhelpful. They're going to defend him, but that's what they do. But you deserve useful boundaries and a wild escalation. Continue to plan the wedding without inviting to group events. Can keep things like dress shopping and cake tasting off social media. You've got a challenging family situation. Hire a security guard for the wedding so that you can both relax and you won't have to worry about David. Okay, well, I mean, I'm not sure. You meet with your parents and explain that Dave won't be able to come to the wedding because he doesn't have the social skills to be successful there, and you'll have a security guard escorting out any drop-ins. Tell mum and dad that you'd love to have them come, but they need to decide they're okay with this being a parents-only invite. Acknowledge the weirdness right up front. I know you have a hard time going to events he's not invited to. Yeah, I kind of think, I get what they're saying. I do get what they're saying, but they need to get him help with adjusting or managing those social situations. Prepare for what they call an extinction burst. Your mum is going to call, text, chat her brains out and try and get you to change their mind. Remind her that it's not up for discussion. They're muting texts and chats every time she brings it up. Prepare to do so about 100 times. De-escalate. You can encourage her to mute your family. Okay. Yeah, I kind of, yeah. Has David been diagnosed with anything? My parents and David are delusional about the situation. My parents said the schools did not get or understand my brother. It has been left at that. Oh, damn. Yeah, okay. So they haven't taken him to be diagnosed at all. Hope you're well. Hope you're well, Left-Handed Jedi. I hope you're good, mate. I'm fantastic. Yeah. Oh wow, this is a tough one. As much as I really feel for David, I get that. Hey, if he's never been given the tools to manage and he's not functioning in society, you don't want to ruin your wedding over that. But then again, it's not his fault, and I really blame the parents for not actually going, hey, could he be on the spectrum? As someone that was diagnosed at about 40 or so, it's very problematic. Let's be clear, it isn't David's fun factor. He'd like to talk to this core problem. It is every gathering comes out him and only him. There isn't room for anyone else. It isn't David's fault, it's his parents' fault. Tell them that. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I kind of agree. I kind of do agree. I think that the parents should have I honestly think that yeah. So I think that not the sort of well, do you know what? I kind of think that everyone's at fault. I kind of think that sort of everybody could have done things a bit much better. The parents could have done things better. The only person that I don't think really is at fault is David. Although if he refuses to believe that there's something wrong that needs to be looked into by a professional, then he's kind of at fault as well. I don't know. It's yeah. Hmm. I mean, I've certainly gone through stretches of my life where I've been irritating to people. I think I would quite like sort of say I'm high functioning, but I certainly have gone through being excluded because I'm irritating to people in my youth and didn't understand why. Is David incapable of making decisions for himself? The way you talk about him, it gets very upset if you try to argue him that he's not really capable of a two-way conversation. Okay, that sounds like he's really not on the functioning side of the autism spectrum, to be honest with you. Doesn't sound like he's functioning well, which is a shame. This is just an awful situation. Awful situation. But yeah, you can't just expect society to mold itself to you. That isn't how things work. You have to go out there and get the tools to be able to fit to society. Unfortunately, it'd be nice if we could all just get society to be what we wanted, but unfortunately, real life doesn't work like that. What have the people got to say? One of your daughters is on the spectrum, Left-Hand Jedi. I think you mentioned that, yeah. And it can be really rough. It can be very rough. I get it. I absolutely get it. Hey, Andrew, good to see you. Hello, Andrew. Wait, what? The parents are at fault here. Hey, Deviant Outcast. They should have got him diagnosed. Yeah. So the thing that sort of speaks to me is that he's 40 now. So usually they pick up autism spectrum disorder in school, right? And this is something I actually encountered that when I went through the school kind of thing, I was so young and I wasn't diagnosed. So going out into because they didn't really know about it when I went through school. They just thought that I was, socially inept, highly intelligent, yet, very, very difficult to work with kind of thing. And I was more or less written off in the school system because that's what they did with people who couldn't fit into the system in those days. They kind of just went, well, that one's a bit of a loss, write them off. It was only once I was, I don't know, 40 or so roughly that I was diagnosed. So I totally get why he wasn't diagnosed at this point, because it's very, very that they really focus on catching it in children. And there's a good reason for that. It's because, it's a lot more evident in children. As people with autism grow up, they develop these masking traits. They try to fit into society and sort of cope with society by showing that copying people. So mimicry is really huge in autistic people. They'll try to mimic others to try and fit in, which is just what happens. So it's more difficult. But still, like, once you know that, hey, there's a problem here, I totally agree. I totally agree. What? Mark grade C above? What above? She's a great kid. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, Majestic. Good to see you. If they feel so strong about David, they should just compromise with the parents, and the parents should be at the wedding. Can't they just invite David to the reception instead of the wedding ceremony? Well, I don't think the wedding ceremony is the problem, because I'm not sure that you get to talk a lot at the wedding ceremony. Everyone's sort of the reception is probably the problem, Big Bad Mama. But I get where you're coming from. I think that if it is causing that much of a disruption, but you shouldn't just leave it at that and go, well, he's just not going to be invited to stuff. I think that's really unfair. I think they should actually go out and get some help for him if he is on the spectrum. Yeah. Sorry for missing a comment there, Big Bad Mama. You're in very, very, very quick on the draw. Very quick on board. Yeah, no, I feel for him, mate. I really do. Oh, look, I have had very bad memories about being excluded and told that you're weird and you're odd and you say weird stuff and you just go on about this thing or that thing, and I don't blame anybody for it. It's just that communication problem I was talking about between somebody who's neurotypical and somebody that's neurospicy, basically, or on the spectrum. Just the communication doesn't flow over well, and that's okay, because when we communicate with people who are also autistic, it's absolutely fantastic. That's the double empathy problem. There are ways we can accommodate, but what we can do if you are neurotypical, I'm not blaming you in any way, but what we can do is kind of meet each other halfway. I can sort of understand that when I'm talking to neurotypical people, they don't want to hear my fun facts, or they don't want to hear a dissertation on the thing that I read recently, kind of thing. And I understand that. I get that. Hey, that might be boring to you. That's cool. That's totally fine. But you can meet halfway and go, well, if you're want to talk about this one thing for 2 hours, it's nothing personal against me. It's just the way you are. So I think sort of both sides sort of making an effort to understand the other, and a lot of that is just awareness of how autistic people are like. So, but yeah, that is sad. I do. It is sad. It really is, and the parents are mostly to blame, I would say, for not understanding autism in the first place, because there's some classic signs there. Classic signs. That one's harsh. Oof. Next up, and what did you guys vote, by the way? I didn't even pay attention to that. Poster is at fault. Oh, it's split right down the middle. Yeah, I kind of understand why. This is a rough one. This is sort of a, hey, everybody kind of either, is not doing the right thing or not doing the wrong thing. This is really tough. This is a tough situation all around kind of thing. Either everyone's at fault or no one's at fault in this one. And I can't really make up my mind which one. I don't think it's just the poster's fault, though. I think that they're just, they just want to have one special day where it isn't, their brother hammering in their ear, which is so bad. Oof, hurts. Am I the arsehole for not including my friends that didn't pitch in for a birthday gift? Maybe. Okay. Maybe. Including my friends in what? In a party? Okay. Don't unit test 1. What do you got? I swiped my credit card on a $700 birthday gift. Is that high? I feel like that's fucking outrageous. $700 birthday gift. Is it just me, or is that fucking massive? Who are you buying a birthday gift for? Elon Musk? What's going on here? Is that just for a friend? Or is that for your wife? Because that seems excessive, to be honest with you. Maybe I'm just really poor, but that seems really excessive. Someone let me know. I mean, even $100 on a birthday gift. I don't know about that. Maybe I'm just poor. I'd probably buy $100 birthday gift for my wife. I'd probably buy $100 birthday gift for a really good friend. I think $50 for a good friend, my best friend maybe, but uh, I okay. I swiped my credit card on a $700 birthday gift and asked 5 friends to pitch in $100 and I'll cover the rest. I gave them 30 days due 2 weeks before the birthday to get the money together. They all agreed. Edit, we agreed on pitching in before I bought it. Okay, so they agreed to this. So yeah, definitely they're in the wrong. 2 told me they couldn't pay me on time, but would pay me before the birthday. I told them if you don't, I'll have to cover the difference and say it was from me and the other friends. Come the day of the birthday, both didn't pay. I said out of good faith, can you at least give me a portion? They said they couldn't. This meant I'm covering $400 of the $700 of the gift. Wait, that doesn't make sense. 5 friends to pitch in 100. Oh, okay, I gotcha. So it's a 700 and he was going to cover 200. Okay. This meant I'm covering 400, the 700 of the gift. I wrote on the gift package from me, friend 1, friend 2, friend 3. The other 2 were upset because I didn't put their name, but they said they would have paid me back after the birthday. I told them that's bullshit because you're blowing off money on dumb stuff, alcohol, Pokemon cards, grass, etc. All the month when you could have paid me back. Am I the arsehole here? No, absolutely not. That's a hard no. I don't understand why. Like, if they agreed to pay it back 2 weeks before the birthday, and they agreed, then they said they then agreed they'd pay you back before the birthday, and they didn't do that either. They're 100% at fault. Like 100% at fault. Yeah, no, I think that they are 100% at fault. Like, and you don't put their name on the gift because they haven't actually given it. Wow. I mean, I don't know why you can, fuck with people like that and then go, well, I should be credited for my, for something that I'm going to do in the future, even though I agreed twice. I don't know. The poster have well, oh, that's the thing. If you say, yeah, I'll be okay to do this thing and don't, it's annoying. If you do it again, well, at that point, like, why? I don't understand why the poster should believe you on your word, if you've already broken it twice. Like, what is that? I don't understand. Why would you believe that person when they've broken their word twice already? Isn't that like sort of like fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me kind of thing? Greetings, Purple. Good to see you. I don't think they are. I think they've just been lied to twice and have no expectation of them following through, and I completely understand. Look, what they were blowing money on doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They could have been living frugally, but the important part is that they said they would pay him 2 weeks beforehand, then they would pay him before this day. And then they still didn't. It doesn't matter what they're doing. If you can't afford it, don't agree to do it. Seriously, don't agree to do it. That's it. And if what I also notice, right, is they're not coming to the guy they owe money to and say, hey, I know I owe you that money. I can't afford it. I'll have to work out a payment plan. They're not coming to him. He's just not getting it and having to chase them up, which is important because if they're working in good faith, they would go to him and say, hey, I don't have it. Hey, Phantom and Sabracadabro, good to see you. I don't think he's the arsehole at all. I really don't think so. Let's see what the Redditors have to say. Not the arsehole. You'll never get the dollars back. Well, you don't know that, but yeah, smart move. Next time, just give a gift by yourself and spend what you want. Yeah, it sucks to be out $400, but this friend has been for me in really bad times. Not concerned about the money, just the main reason for the post. Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, I agree. Did they all agree to this before you swiped your card? Who are you buying? If they put that $700, yeah. Did you ever sit down and agree to this before you pay? No, I guess that question has been answered. Why are you spending $700 on a birthday present? $700 between 6 close friends for over 10 years, and we're in our 30s and all have jobs. We're going to get them a pre-built gaming PC. Damn, son. I want to be this guy's friend. They agreed to pitch in and didn't follow through. You're fair, and they can't blame you for their choices. Correct. If they want a credit for the gift, they need to pitch in. Yeah. That having said, $700 for a birthday gift is insane. Yeah. Nope. They are the arsehole. Happened to me a couple of times before I started collecting up front. That might what has to be done in the future. I usually wait on a deal and then swipe, but I'm not really getting a deal if they fall through. Yeah, basically. Yeah. It's a real shame that you can't, like, if they're such good friends, like you're talking about, like all of these really close friends, you know, if they don't pay you back or make good on their promises to you, how good of friends are they? Well, it is. It might be American dollars, Phantom. It might be American dollars, which is like about 1,600 of Australian, I guess. Which is, I mean, it's not. It definitely would be lower end, but it definitely would be lower end. But you could still afford a gaming PC with that. It probably would go a lot further if you bought the components and built it yourself. Like I think pre-building. Like, no, I'm not gonna like, you know, shame people that buy pre-built, but you know, it's a lot cheaper if you build it yourself, and it's not that hard. It's about respect, not the arsehole. They should have been upfront or collect. Yeah, I think this one's pretty, you know, just making an observation. Yeah, no, fair enough. 97. Yeah, so the cost of components always goes down in accordance with Moore's law. So what we've noticed is that, you know, so I read something on this recently, that a supercomputer came out in the 90s, and the PS4 PS4. Are we currently up to 4? Anyway, the current iteration of PlayStations have the same amount of power as that supercomputer in the 90s. I'm not even joking. Like, it does, and so it's really, really wild. I'm not a PlayStation boy, but yeah. What is the latest PlayStation version? Is it PlayStation 5? Yeah, it's PS5. Huh. Yeah, I had a PS3 and I liked it. It could play PS2 games. I was very happy with it, but yeah. Yeah, it depends on what sort of how good they are, really. You can get sort of a very, very simple one for very, very cheap these days. It you know, it depends what you want it to do, essentially, like all things. But let's see what the thing has to say. Go up, go up. Oh yeah, thank you. Being an autist myself, thank you, Deviant Outcast. I appreciate that. They agreed on pitching him before and didn't, so their names don't belong on the gift. Yeah, that's fair. I agree. No, he's not the a-hole. They are. No, you steal their weed. Okay, well, yeah. Deviant, are you feeling better? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were feeling unwell, Deviant. I hope you are better. I really do. There's an old hang on. There's an old saying in Tennessee. I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again." That was actually hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Grass cost the price of petrol and lawnmower. Yeah, very, very, very clever. Yeah, yeah. Right, right. Like an unexpected expense came up, so they won't be able to pay for a couple of months. Sure, but then you'd go to the person that you've told that you would pay and say, "Hey, something's come up. I'm in this bind." Not just let them chase after you. That's the whole point, and that is important because it's showing good faith. It's basically saying, "Hey, I respect you enough to go to you and say, hey, this thing has come up. I'm terribly sorry. I will, get it back to you." Perhaps saying, "Here's what I can afford right now," is a really good, but he has to go and ask them for, partial payment kind of thing. And that's not cool. Even if it's just a token amount, it shows good faith, in my opinion. I bought you $800 of Hoven DVDs. Buy my DVDs. Buy my DVDs. Russia, go to hell. Is this a case for Hume? Is this a case for Hume? I'm not sure what about Hume's philosophies you're in fact referring to. Is it a case for Hume? I'm not 100% sure. You don't put in at brothels for gifts. Always a bad outcome. Oof. Oof. Morals and gaming hardware costs. Absolutely. Gift giving should cease by age 12. I kind of am with you. At some point you're sort of like, well, what's the point kind of thing? Like, I like buying stuff for my wife, but we don't really do, sort of, well, we have to get something for each other on it. Like, she doesn't have to get anything for me on my birthday or Christmas or anything like that. But we do like buying stuff. It's kind of like this. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like this. Well, if I don't need anything right now, why should we buy each other crap that we don't want and don't need? I don't know. It just seems weird. But that's not to say that we don't gift each other stuff. We certainly do. $50 got me 10,000 games and 2 controllers. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Is that like you bought a PlayStation 1 on special? The ground control computer NASA had to put a man on the moon had the power of a Series 1 Pentium. Yep, one in the Apollo command. Yeah, had the power of a Commodore 64. Yeah, and I owned a Commodore 64. Also autistic. Much love, Perps. Oh, you're saying assholes are useful? Yeah, no, I get you. She's feeling a bit better. It's taking okay. Well, much love out to Deviant Outcast out there. I hope you feel better. All the best. Before his birthday, my eldest brother sent a wish list. Not a joke. He had a Ray Comfort CDs in his wish list. Oof, big oof. Okay, that's Temu gaming HDMI thing. Yeah, I don't know. Temu, I kind of ignore it. I mean, what's the difference between Temu and Amazon, really? Probably not a lot. Temu, though, because it is Chinese based, there's a lot less follow up if something doesn't come. Having said that, it's also cheap. You probably don't worry about it, but I don't know. I think that is important. Did anyone ever own the Commodore 64 disk drive, like the 5.25-inch disk drive? It was this. So for the young'uns out there used to be instead of flash drives and stuff, there used to be floppy disks, and they started out with a 5.25-inch, which was a disk probably about sort of that size kind of thing. This black disc with a hole in the center, in plastic. And the hard drive that ran it was like you could club a burglar to death with it. It was the heaviest piece of equipment. It was insane. Or maybe it's just because I was young and seemed heavier, but it was insanely big and horrible. I'm feeling worse. The healthcare advice time down go ER, so drumming the game. Oh, Outcast, all the best. Yeah, okay. I hope you get well soon. 1541. Yeah, that's the one. 5.25, then 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 with the ones with the slidey thing at the bottom. You remember those? The little slidey thing that you played with until, you know. It's difficult writing laptop and patience. Okay, well, take care, Deviant Outcast. Yeah, lots of love, and you know, we're all thinking of you. Which had 8-inch floppy disks. Oh yeah, they're like the massive ones. No, I get you. Wow, blast from past. I don't know if you're a true Commodore 64 person, you just remember the press play on tape and then sitting down with like a gaming, a computing magazine for ages. And did anyone ever do programming in BASIC, coding in BASIC? Fantastic stuff. Coding in BASIC, you'd code it all out and then like save it and hit record on the tape recorder. Like crazy stuff, right? Like just so cool. You didn't have the tape drive? Oh, you missed out. You missed out. Like seriously, it was glacial loading of stuff. You code in BASIC, good stuff. Good stuff. You learned in DOS? I'm sorry. Like MS DOS is what you're talking about? MS DOS? If you like DOS and Bash, the difference between Bash is so much better that's basically standard on the Linux system. Bash is where it's at. That is so good. It's incredible. Oh, damn. The only remaining copy of the first novel, approximately 300 pages for 4 discs. Oof. Damn. Damn. Yeah, that's a good point. The tape drive was white and the computer was this brown dun sort of brownie color kind of thing. That is a really good point. I mean, I knew it was a different color, and the disk drive, the floppy disk drive, the 1541 thing, it was the same brownish color, but the tape deck was white. I know what you're talking about there. What was your favorite game on Commodore 64? What's your favorite game? Mine probably was Curse of the Azure Bonds, which was a really, really simplistic D&D game. Like it was a D&D game, and I thought it was awesome, just incredible. Anyway, we've gone off on a tangent. So tangents in the chat. You used a typewriter and played Pong. Really? They had Pong back in the Stone Age, Big Bad Mama? Incredible. Incredible. That was the tape drives to make 128 was the Amiga. It wasn't the Commodore, it was the Amiga. See, I know my stuff. Defender? Yeah, right on. No, I'll pay that. I'll pay that. Yeah, tangents in the chat. Fantasy, I don't recall that one. Ultima 4, there you go. Was that on Commodore 64? Modor. Oh, it so was. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I stand corrected. Well done. Awesome. Anyway, yeah, I think that one was pretty straightforward. Let's see what the chat says for the poll. Posted the right thing. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah, but only rich people had the 128 Amiga. Um, oh no, before the 64 on the Amiga, they released the 128, which was 64 with twice the memory and a mode for really. So it was a Commodore 128. Really? Oh, I stand corrected. Interesting. I didn't even know about that. There you go. Wow. All right, I stand corrected. Thanks, Perps. Tangents are my favorite fruit. I presume you mean fruit there, but yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, there was a 128. Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Fantastic. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, it could run all the 64. If it was the same architecture, just with more memory, it should be able to. Just like how the Windows system, um, the 32, the 64 can run all the 32 ones. Oh, yeah. That's that one. Ignore ads. Okay, Ronsel Donsel. Yep. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my sister's kids stay with me after she cancelled on me last minute? No, not really. I mean, you don't have a responsibility to take care of anybody's kids. Let's face it. It's not your responsibility. And if you're making a boundary that sort of, if she cancels on you, you're not going to watch her kids, then I think that's fair, unless you're just doing it vindictively. But I'm not sure that's why you're doing it. So let's read it. So my 29 male sister, 32 female, has 3 kids, 7, 10, 7, and 5. Okay. Okay. Last month, she asked me if I could watch them for a weekend while she and her husband went on a short anniversary trip. Oh, that's nice. Hey, my anniversary is coming up as well. And always as an anniversary thing, apart from everything else, we basically call it Cupcake Day. So if you're watching, baby, I love you. I'm looking forward to my anniversary and Cupcake Day. She really likes cupcakes, and it's sort of the one day she just gets rainbow cupcakes and absolutely acts like a child. You got to act like a child occasionally, like just enjoy the things that made you happy as a kid. I think that's really important. Mm. I agreed because I love my niece and nephew. Made it clear I'd need at least 2 weeks' notice because I worked long hours and I'd have to rearrange my schedule. Okay, that's a big thing. Rearranging your schedule is a big thing. Don't think it isn't. Don't think because somebody rearranged their schedule a lot that it's not a big thing. Rearranging your schedule is rough, especially for some employers. Like, for instance, I used to work call centers kind of thing, and rearranging your schedule, it was a huge thing. Like, you really needed a good reason to do so because the way they ran it, they needed certain people for certain times. And it's the reason why I compulsively start my streams on time. Because if you were 1 minute late to that, 1 minute late, you were in trouble because they had to start exactly on time, always on time, always having the right, like the right amount of people at the right time, or else calls would clog up the system, things would start to break. That's a big thing for some people. Police officers, it's huge rearranging a schedule. I don't know what his work is, but I'm not going to assume it's just this average, this thing that he can just go, oh, he might not be in a white collar job where he can just go, hey, I'm going to take the afternoon off on this day, just let him know kind of thing. And I'll make it up these other times. It may not be that easy. Fast forward to this past week, I asked my boss for time off, cleared my weekend and stocked my house with everything the kids would need. Friday rolls around, I'm waiting for her to drop them off. Suddenly I got a text from her saying they're not coming. She decided last minute that they were going to a family-friendly resort instead and didn't need to watch them anymore. No apology, just we'll do it another time. Okay, that is just rude. That is really rude. Um, no apology, just we'll do it another time. Yeah, that's okay, but you've got to let her know just how much you went through to actually, make this arrangement. I'm kind of annoyed, sort of a secondhand annoyed for this person because she could have called you when she organized the family friendly resort. I don't think she just organized the family friendly resort last minute, well, she decided last minute, but she would have been able to call them up. Yeah, I don't know. I was frustrated because I had completely cleared my weekend, turned down plans with friends, and rearranged my work schedule for this. I responded by telling her it wasn't cool to cancel on me last minute like that, especially when I went out of my way to help. Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair. That is a good boundary. If you are going out of your way to help, canceling on you last minute is not cool. Then 2 days later, she called me up. 2 days later? Oh, she called me up again asking if I could watch the kids the following weekend. Apparently, something came up with her original plan and she needed someone to watch them after all. I told her no, I wasn't available. She got upset and said I was being selfish and punishing her kids for something that wasn't their fault. What do you expect of the person? What do you expect of them? Now she's mad at me, and my parents are saying I should be more understanding because things come up when you're a parent. I don't have kids, but I feel like it's just basic respect to not cancel on someone last minute and then expect them to be available whenever you want. So am I the asshole for refusing to watch my sister's kids after she cancelled on me last minute? Edit. I didn't expect so many NTA exposed. Yeah, I don't know why he has to accept if like what. Wow. I get that things come up last minute when you're a parent, but you can apologize. Like, so what I think that the poster is looking for is for her to say, hey, I screwed up. I know I screwed up. I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. Right? Some kind of outreach on her part, the parent's part, to say, hey, I'm not going to do this to you again. I'm definitely not going to cancel on you last minute again. I think that's what he's really looking for. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not the person, but I think that sort of at least an acknowledgement about how he's been put out. I think it is this idea that, hey, you don't respect me in the slightest. You don't respect my time. You don't respect my job. You don't respect my life. You're basically just expecting to be on call for your kids, and that is not how things work. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is not how anything works. Like, it sounds like he's more than happy to help, but you've got to meet the guy halfway. Um, ugh, or refusing to. So I think though a bit of communication to say, hey, this can't happen again. That's why I'm not doing it would not go astray. Um, Setting boundaries is important, and obviously this poster feels really upset at what's happened here. And obviously he feels like she doesn't get why he's upset. Doesn't understand at all. I think explaining why you're upset is probably a good idea. Last month, you asked me to watch them for a weekend. In other words, there's a big commitment on your end. Yeah, and sometimes it is. She had time to change plans, but not the time to notify you before the last second. By itself, this is valid. Add to the fact you had earlier told her you needed 2 weeks advance notice to rearrange your schedule. She should have known you wouldn't be available. That's true. That's true. He did say that he needs 2 weeks notice to be available. So why would she suddenly think that that doesn't apply? Because Children understand the idea of people being busy and able to do. It isn't the children's fault, but it's not your fault either. You have no responsibility or obligation here. Yes, things come up. Yeah, things come up when you're a parent, and it's your responsibility to deal with them. You're not the parent here. Your sister is. This is simply not your issue to deal with. Can your parents not take the children? They're eager to press you to help. Why can't they help? But you don't have children. Don't you know that people without children just have all this free time and are clearly missing out on these lives? Surely you're doing a favor by letting her fill the void in your life. Children's sarcasm for the whole passage. Okay, yeah. No, that's fair enough. Not the us. I'll just tell them you can't rearrange your schedule back to back like this. You told you need at least 2 weeks. You know the chances are very, very unlikely. Trying to guilt you is in poor taste. Yeah, I think that is emotional manipulation when you're sort of saying, hey, but won't somebody think of the children? Well, you might have to miss out on what you're doing because you're the one who's you're the parent. Why aren't you missing out and having to rearrange your schedule? Additionally, just because your sister was inconsiderate and you're now saying, no, this does not mean you're punishing her kids, I'd probably emphasize that point the most. Instead of having her ask for a weekend for you to babysit, you could ask for a weekend to take them in the future to make up weekend for bonding. Take control whenever you see them instead of relying on your flaky sister. I like that. That's good. Yeah. Sometimes people with kids tend to think people without this responsibility have no life and no other commitment. Correct. And sometimes people with kids think that because you don't have kids, all of the commitments you do have should be secondary to those kids. And that is not the case. I'm sorry, it just isn't. You know, people without kids have jobs. People without kids have volunteer stuff they do. People without kids have stuff that they've agreed to do. And just because you have decided your kids are more important than my life doesn't make it so. But I at the same time, I do empathize with, you know, you've got this commitment to your kids that I totally understand. You know, I totally understand if I wanted to you know, do something with you and you said, I'm sorry, my kids are sick or something like that, I can't do it. Totally understand. Absolutely understand. You know, absolutely. You know, your kids are way more important than me to you, but you know, the reverse, like you can't project that onto other people. You can't say, hey, well, my kids should be more important than you. You know, no, I get that you feel that way, but I don't have to feel that way. Not that your kids aren't important, but, you know, more important than my life and my commitments. I'm sorry, they're not. I have my own life. But I can understand why, you know, and that's a good point. Why aren't the parents helping? Why are the parents saying, oh, well, why don't you take them? Why don't you take them? Although I kind of feel for the kids that sort of everyone's trying to, you know, shove them around kind of thing. I had to have a talk with my family about this. They were taking for granted that I was available last minute to put my life aside and go for weeks at a time to help my sister and her kid or take care of my parents while they were going away or going to my brother's place to take care of his dog for a week. I sat down and explained how disrespectful it was to put me in situations where I was either the jerk saying no to helping the family and feeling guilty or as the one giving up on all of my plans to help out. Either way, I was miserable. Yeah, and if you're making someone guilty for not doing what you want, it's just going to breed resentment. They're going to resent you and possibly resent the child, which is not a situation you want to be in. One of the reasons I made the choice of not having kids was because I didn't want the responsibility or having tied down, yet my family was seeing that choice as a free babysitter. After a long talk with them, they understand where I was coming from and realized that I was allowed to say no, still working on that. Talk with family. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Things come up when you're a parent. Yeah, things come up when you're not a parent. Yeah, well, yes, I get you, but things do come up more when you're a parent. Like, I get that. It happens. You're not punishing the kids, you're punishing her. Well, no, I think he's more setting boundaries to saying, hey, if you can't give me definitive times, I'm not going to do this. If you can't keep to your agreement, he needs to talk to her and go, listen, if you want me to babysit for you, you're going to have to fulfill your obligation. So a lot of these situations that we've seen today in particular has been what happens when you don't keep your word? What happens when you tell people you're going to do something and you don't do it? And more than that, what happens when you don't do it and don't apologize for it afterwards? Number one, they're not going to do stuff for you anymore. If you make agreements like and this is really something on YouTube that is a big deal. You do not want a reputation for being a person who will not show up to the things that they've agreed to. That is death on YouTube. You will not have a good YouTube career if you're seen as a flaky person that will agree to do stuff and just doesn't show up. That's terrible. Because number one, why should that person ever invite you on again? Like if you've just left them hanging, and that will get you a really bad reputation for a start. Number two, it happens that people miss stuff, sure, but then you apologize and explain and put a commitment forth that you won't let it happen again. Like you actually show some regret that you did the wrong thing. But this is like, well, I did the wrong thing, but I'm going to blame you for not accepting my word when I broke, what I said I was going to do. I don't understand that. And a lot of these ones are the same. Like they said they would do X, they didn't do it. Now they're angry at me for not doing the thing that they screwed me on, basically. I don't understand that. I really don't. Oh, hey Dave, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Yeah, I will go to the chat. What have you got to say, chat? Why? Who is in the right? Who's in the wrong? And why? We're still talking Commodore 64. Awesome. Keep the tangent going. I'm there for it. Start about. Looking after others' kids should be an arrestable crime. I'm going to assume that's hyperbole, but because if that's the case, then I would have gone to jail a while ago. I have nieces and nephews. I've looked after them. It's fine. She would have had to make the reservation to the resort earlier, so she should have told the OP then. Yeah, I honestly believe that, Perps. Yeah, I think that sort of like if he is getting to the point of waiting for them to arrive, it's obviously not a day beforehand or something. They obviously have not told him until they're due to arrive, which is terrible. You spent most of my adult life raising other people's kids. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, it can be good if you're happy to do it, but people shouldn't unload all of their, relationships and obligations upon you. This room is like a form of Unitarianism. Okay. Okay. I will take your word for that. What, like the religion Unitarianism? I don't know why, because the only maybe you're using it differently than I am. I thought it was like a form of Christian religion, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's a non-Trinitarian branch, as the Unitarian nature of God as the unique creator of the universe. Yeah, I don't know how. Except maybe the Commodore 64 is God in all its nature. I don't know. I'm very confused. She mad, so what? Well, so it's always difficult with family. Sabracadabra, it's easy to say, hey, she's mad, I don't care, screw it. But family is important. They're the people that are most likely to help you out if you ever need help in the future. That's just how it is, mate. If you get into trouble in the future, they are the people most likely to help you, is your family. Now, that might be close friends as found family, like people that you're not blood related to, but they are your family. It might be the people that have adopted you. It may be a very close-knit community, but your family is important. And if somebody is your family, it does have an impact, but at the same time, you have to put up those boundaries to make sure that you're not in a place where you're going to resent your family. The OP would probably not be able to get time off work the following weekend. Absolutely. Yeah, if I was the boss or, talking to the boss would be like, wait, you just had last weekend off. I just moved your stuff around. What happened? Which is fair enough. And he could say, hey, she didn't show up this time, but show up next time. Or even if he said, well, my sister needs help with the kids again, it's affecting your life at that point. The boss is problem might not be happy about it. They might be understanding, sure. But at that point, it really is affecting your life. The sister's a spoiled brat. Well, I don't know. Maybe her family is very close-knit that, because that old adage is that it takes a village to raise a child. Like, I don't have a problem with people helping parents raise children. But the key word there is help. They support. They don't take over that responsibility themselves. That's the key point. Help raise the child. Don't raise the child for them. Yeah, lack of planning on your part does not create a sense of urgency on mine. Yeah, so lack of preparation. I think I've heard that phrase before, Left-Handed Jedi. It's like lack of preparation on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine. Problem child. I don't know who that's directed to, so I'll assume it's everybody. You're probably right. You're probably right. I love words too. I absolutely adore words. I love certain words. They're just amazing. Aurelia said that originally. Phonics, etymology, I find so many answers buried in language itself. Yeah, sure. I don't know why. I absolutely adore palindromes. Palindromes are amazing. Does everyone know what palindromes are? God, I love palindromes. And I love Weird Al. Weird Al Yankovic wrote a song called Bob that was basically an entire song in palindromes, and it is just fantastic. It is genius. Weird Al, I will die on this hill. Weird Al is one of the best musicians and thinkers that has ever been, and I will die on that hill. But I love palindromes, things that are spelt the same forward as backwards. Absolutely adore them. Things come up, a cycle of things, nonstop. Yeah. Basically, we're just summing up life, aren't we, Abracadabra? Things come up. Yeah, that's essentially life. Yeah. They need a conversation with OP to sit down and explain why they need advance notice and carve it in stone. Yeah, no, I gotcha. With less than 2 weeks notice, they can't help him want to. Absolutely, Purple. Absolutely. And that's part of setting those boundaries, because it's not enough. I'll modify that. Sometimes or often it's not enough to set a boundary. What's really important is to set the boundary and make people aware of what the boundary is. Because if they don't know what your boundary is, they may just think you're acting irrationally, just doing things off the fly. But if you say, hey, here is this boundary, there is a boundary here, that if you don't follow through on what you're saying, or if you don't give the advance notice I need, I will not be able to do this, because that is the boundary. But they may not understand that till you tell them. So I think that maybe I miss it a lot, but when setting boundaries, it's important to let people know what those boundaries are. Absolutely let them know where it is, and say it's nothing about you. It is me, but that is the boundary that I must set, because that's the only way I'm going to have a healthy and happy life, is to have this boundary. Need to find more food. Food is good. I like food. Absolutely like food. They want to share the pain and burden we owe them for having sex. Well, it's not just that. Come on, Sabracadabra. They are like providing another generation of people. I don't think you'll never see my kids again. Okay, maybe he likes his nieces and nephews. I like mine. That would maybe upset me a little if I'd never see them again. I like them, but that doesn't mean. You know what? Actually, now that I think of it, I like my nieces and nephews a lot more once they got out of sort of once they hit like 15, 16 kind of things. I'm not a big fan of children. I don't really like kids. In fact, I don't even really like teenagers, to be honest with you. I think I like them a lot more once they grew up. But I'd still be upset if I didn't see them again. The parents and the sister is using the kids for press guilt manipulation. Correct? That is disgusting. Pretty much, she sounds like the sister is the one who should be made aware of her responsibility she chose to have. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't disagree. Guilt manipulation by using kids is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. 3 kids. It's not her brother's fault. If were the babysitting ideal is the least of their issues. Wow. Okay. Deviant coming out with the incest joke. That's yeah. All right. It would be punishment if I had to look after kids, not on me. No, and that's you, man. Like he might really enjoy the time. Like he said, he got stuff set up and he got stuff organized. So obviously he maybe he has a fun time with them. Some parents are so bad they become children. Yeah, and so there's problems with parentification in modern life. It's where the adult neglects their kids so much that some of the kids have to take over parenting the rest of them, and they never actually get a childhood, and it's a problem. I'm not sure if this is the case. I don't think so, but it's a problem. Ryan Donovan, good to see you. Good to see you. That would suck for us single parents. We need sitters at times. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I totally get it, Andrew. And being a single parent is a hard work. But at the end of the day, I'm sure you would let people know, give them notice if you suddenly couldn't make it or something came up or something like that, And if you missed it, hey, that happens. But you wouldn't say, hey, that's fine, and not apologize. Like, all we're sort of saying is, hey, be reasonable. And I'm sure you are, but obviously this woman is not, because she didn't apologize, saw nothing wrong with treating her brother like sort of an on-call nanny that she could just call up and get them to do that at any time. There was black mask. Okay, I think you're reading a bit too much into this. Let's not assume that. But no, the poster is right. Need to respect others' time, especially doing you a solid, being there for you and your kids. Absolutely. Absolutely. The village people kids. Okay. No, it takes a village, as in it takes an entire group of a community in order to raise a child. Don't be a rug and walked over all the time. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't. Look, most of the time when someone walks over you, they have no idea they're doing it. That's the thing, Jedi. We sort of have this idea, and we sort of get into our heads that, oh, that person did that. They know what they're doing, and they may not. A lot of people are just oblivious to harms that they cause. I can be oblivious to harms I can cause, right? That's why you've got to sit down and say, hey, there's this boundary. And you can't cross it, or else I will have to make it so you cannot cross that boundary, right? And as much as I don't like, I don't suggest using ultimatums or anything like that, but just say, hey, this boundary cannot be crossed. I don't think, and don't get me wrong, you're absolutely right. Some of the time it is somebody going, well, I'm gonna use that person, and they are walking over you. But a lot of the time it's just people have no idea where the hell they're walking. They're just walking, and they just happen to tread on your boundary. So yeah, and words are hard. Yes, words are hard. Yeah. Razor wire is a great boundary. No, not really. Not really. No, not really. It is fucked up to use kids as bargaining chips. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. I like kids. I get along fine with young adult teenagers. Well, yeah. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. My 2 part-time wards were watched over by their teenage sister, who at times had to protect them from their mother. Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that, Perps. That's awful. Yeah, that parentification, it's not right. It's not right. I said nothing about incest. We don't know what it could have looked like. Maybe the brother forced the sister and brother-in-law stand by their... Okay. This went south, especially autistic. We can often absolutely, if people do not state them clearly, absolutely. I remember very, very clearly. I was once in an argument, like I was talking with somebody, and they were saying stuff about things, and I was having a really interesting conversation. And then he just got so mad, and I was like, "What's happening here?" Apparently, I was in an argument and didn't realize it. I had no idea I was trampling on their toes, kind of thing, by saying this. I'm innocent of all improper behavior at all times, Kay. I'm going to start screenshotting your responses. How dare you? How dare you claim that? How dare you claim that? Okay. Let's do it to it. What did this poll say? Post did the right thing. Yeah, I kind of agree. I do think the poster, I don't think, Deviant Outcast, you're not as deviant as you think. You're not as deviant as you think. Should be Devious Outcast. Next one from Call Overall 5606. Am I the arsehole for writing "go fuck yourself" on a note my dad sent with the invite to my half of the sister's birthday? Yeah, probably. What the hell? Is this an in-joke? Am I the arsehole for telling someone to go fuck themselves on their birthday? Yeah, kinda. I don't know. Is this an in-joke? Is this something weird? Okay, this is weird. Okay. My dad dumped my mum when she was pregnant with me, and he wasn't in my life for the first 2 years and avoided paying child support. Oof, that hurts. Yeah. I think the only reason he did eventually go for custody and worked on getting approved for 50-50 custody. Took him almost 2 years, but he did it. From the ages of 4 to 10, the 50-50 custody schedule was in place. Well, did he pay the child support? When I, 16 male, was 8, he married his wife, who had 3 kids. They also had one together when they got married. Oh, his wife had 3 kids and they also had 1. Okay, so that's 4 kids in the household, or 4 kids plus you? We all lived in a tiny 2-bedroom house. Damn. All right, that's quite a small house for that many people. I was the oldest. They had another 2. They had another 2 while I was still there, and all of us kids were in 1 bedroom. Fuck. Okay, so there's you, another 3 kids, that's 4, 5 when they got married, and another 2. That's 7 in 1 bedroom. The babies were placed with us as babies. What else would they be placed? I mean, the babies were placed with us as answering machines. Of course they were babies. What? My dad's stepkids resented me because I got to be somewhere else half the time. Oh, because the 50-50 custody. I also used to sneak in food from my mum's. She helped me, and sometimes when the other kids found it, would fight because they wanted me to share, which with the 3 of them, which would mean I get nothing. CPS was called a couple of times but did nothing until they were called while I was there, and they saw how bad the space was. My mum reached out with her own concerns, and when my dad and his wife rejected the help they offered, mum used to report from CPS to get full custody of me again. Okay. At first, the courts tried to give my dad daytime visitation, but eventually that visitation was taken off the table. I didn't keep in touch with my dad's household after that. A year ago, a couple of my half-siblings showed up outside my school to meet me and wanted a relationship. So how old are you now? I wonder how old he is now. I mean, that was 16 when he went into that hellhole, but how old is he now? They're young, 9-ish and 7-ish, so I tried to be nice while not trying to lead them on. I didn't want a relationship. I could at any point. My mum would try to help, but I had zero desire for a relationship with any of them. That's your choice, buddy. A couple of weeks ago, I got home and found some mail from me. Opened it up, and inside was an invite to a birthday party for one of my half-siblings, and inside the invite was a note from my dad trying to shame and guilt me into showing for the kids. Ugh, using kids as leverage again. Terrible. I wrote, "Go fuck yourself" in the note and sent it back with the invite. My dad then came to our house and yelled at my mum for what I had done, and then confronted me a few days later about doing that where the kids would have seen it if they'd opened it first. I said he was a shitty, petulant kid who never appreciated anything. I asked him why he wasn't at work to provide for all those kids he had and leaving me alone, because the best thing that ever happened to me was getting him out of my life. Then one of his stepkids tried to give me shit in school because of it, that I'd made a life at dad's worse for everyone's. Amarià. So yeah, kind of a little. You didn't have to do that. Here's the problem. If you are showing that kind of anger to somebody, you're still getting yourself emotionally connected to them. That's the thing. I think just ignoring it and just getting on with your life. Like, what's the expected outcome of that? Like, what are you actually trying to achieve? You're sort of trying to punish him for the stuff that he's done for you, but it's not going to help you. It's not going to get you to where you want to go. Really, you want to extricate yourself from your dad and that family, right? You don't want anything to do with them anymore. So can we say that writing that will reasonably lead to that outcome? No, of course it's not. Of course it's going to create another emotional bond, this one anger and resentment between you and them. If you want to get away from the family and from your dad, don't send anything. Just ignore it. Go put that aside. Don't get involved at all. Don't go to punish him for stuff, because all that will do is get him back in your life. Right? Like, there's no reason to do this. You don't ought to have done that. I mean, it's kind of, yeah, we're kind of saying, morally he did the wrong thing, because it would not get him to where he wanted to go. Yeah, it sometimes it feels good in the short term to, tell your dad to go F himself. Yeah, sure. If that's your entire intention, then sure, do that. But that's not his intention. He doesn't want to be involved with his dad. And so it doesn't get him to where he wants to go, because of course his dad's going to come around and go, how dare you, or contact his mother, or, the kids at school, he's going to tell the kids. It just, you're back in the middle of it again. Like, why be there? The poster, right? And I get the importance of expressing your feelings, right? I really do. You could write a letter to your dad, sort of saying, hey, here's why I'm really angry at you. Here's why I'm very upset and very angry, kind of thing. And explain why you're angry. And put in there, hey, I don't need you to come and be in my life. I don't want you in my life. That's my opinion anyway. Or going to counseling or a psychologist and sort of expressing your feelings to someone who isn't going to come into your life and sort of go, well, you called me this, or you said this, and I don't agree with you. Not the asshole. He's never been a good or present father for you. Now he thinks it's in your rights to tell you, guilt you into doing things. This sounds like your breaking point with him. It's understandable to be fed up. I just feel bad for the half positions because they're innocent in all of this and continue to be subject to his shitty parenting. However, you have no obligation to fill any role in his family. You have your own mental well-being to worry about. Sorry you went through all of this. Put your energy into the healthy relationships in your life. I kind of agree with that, sure. I do agree with that. But, so when I'm saying, yeah, he's basically morally bankrupt, I'm talking very strongly. I'm just saying that that's the wrong thing to do. Not the arsehole. Has too many kids left out of the shuffle. So really, we're just talking about whether he did the right thing. So I think that maybe everyone at fault is where I would go here. Like, the dad's obviously at fault for the way that he's treated his family and not providing for them and sort of having more kids. For fuck's sake, there's contraception available. Seriously. Well, I'm actually maybe the US, and I'm not sure what state that's going to be relevant anymore. If you don't know, the sort of way that it is looking for contraception is really bad over there. I am horrified at the stuff that Project 2025 is saying about contraception. It's horrifying. So, but you have contraception. Jesus, if you've had like 5 kids, fuck's sake, get the snip, get the snip. It's almost 100% effective, like so close to 100, it's ridiculous. It's not that big a deal. It's not a huge surgery. It's a very, very small surgery, and you never have to worry about having another child. Not the arsehole is a failure of a father. Grown-ass adult trying to dump blame on his kid. He only gets to have what the courts decide until you become of age, and then you can go NC and put him in his past. What's NC? No contact. No contact. Don't need that kind of negativity in your life. Yeah. And it kind of is, I was already no contact, he had no visitation and still tried to pull this crap. Okay, well, I mean, that's a bit of a problem. Not the arsehole, probably not your best moment. Yeah, I agree, probably not the best moment, but far from arsehole territory. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's in the arsehole territory, but definitely isn't the right thing considering what he wanted. No, like, I think we're just sort of quibbling over the terms. Like, no one's saying he did the right thing. I would not recommend you do not engage with any of them. Correct. Yeah, that's the way to go. My social media accounts are locked down, so they can't contact me there. Yeah, and if they do try to contact you, that you don't owe them anything. You don't have to go and contact them at all. It's not something you've got to do. Well, in a community where it deviants, it sets the hybrid badge for it. Yeah, absolutely. Look, a deviant outcast is a high barred outcast. I gotta be honest with you. This is sounding like my childhood home. Nah, that's terrible. I'm so sorry, Perps. That's awful. Serious Dickens shit. Yeah. I don't know. I get that people do live in poverty, and it's sometimes not reasonable to expect them to provide like a massive mansion for their kids, but I think at some point, like if that home is so full, why are you trying to get custody of your child? Is it because they get child support for all of these kids and they want the child support? Like, why are you trying to get more children into your house when you could just say, hey, could I just have visitation for my son and not have them under their roof? Is it a male alpha thing? Is it a toxic masculinity thing? Is it a child support thing? Why do you need this child when you've got so many that you obviously are having problems providing for? Lol, I told you he was in the right. Yeah, not an arsehole. No, that's fair, Andrew. We can disagree. I don't think I would call him an arsehole. I just think he isn't doing the right thing. So when I'm talking about morality, I'm saying what he ought to do. And contacting his dad, even with an insult, is not the thing he ought to do. He ought to just leave it alone. Let his dad stew in his life. Move on, because that's not going to lead to what you want. That's all. But I get where you're coming from. I really do. And plus, it doesn't really say how long after this was, right? So it says when he was 16, but is he still 16? Because some behavior out of a 16-year-old, I would say, absolutely understand. If he just, shoots back at his dad, absolutely understands. But if he's like 20-something, he probably should know better. If it is that bad, cut ties and call it a day. Yeah, get on with your own life and make your own life what you want. That's I don't know. Maybe I'm on the son side. I hear your points, but from a son that hates his father, I can't fault him. Oh, I don't really fault him that much. It's just, when we look back and we go, okay, well, what are the oughts here? What ought we have done? What ought we have not to done? I'm really trying to apply the standard of, did the action lead to the consequences and utility of well-being, right? So would shooting back an insult to your dad lead to your own well-being, lead to the well-being of people around you? Would it reasonably lead to that? And I don't think it does. I think it will just create this drama that's obviously happened. I think that we can reasonably say that. However, having said that, I don't really fault him that much for doing it. I get what you're saying. I really do. Not the asshole, but absolutely could be handled differently. Yeah, exactly right. That sums it up. However, this is a kid we're talking about feeling anger and sadness. Well, I don't know that. I mean, he might be 20s. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And youngsters, yeah, that's exactly what I just said. We're definitely on the same page. That's what I do, is just cut ties and not come around. I can agree. Yeah, I get you. But, like sometimes you really want to express your feelings to that person. I get that. And I guess it is important for your well-being to express your feelings in some way. It's just, we've got to find a way that's healthy instead of, causing more problems for yourself. That's all. A healthy way to express your feelings in counseling or therapy or to friends or to family, and not get caught up in your dad's bullshit, basically. Yes, Jedi, that would be the best thing. No doubt the healthiest thing, but I don't think we can fault the kid. Yeah, no, fair, that's fair. That's 100% fair. I get you. It would have been fine if it was specifically a letter to his dad. It was wrong to do it through the invitation because that is probably going to make a kid cry for something they're not involved. Yeah, that's true. That is true. It wasn't necessarily back to his dad, and it could have caused a problem. I'm not exactly sure I buy that the dad's like, oh, the kid could have read it, so I'm angry. It's probably just the lack of respect is just, my kid called me this, I'm going to get angry. I'd get the snip so damn expensive in America. Really? How much is it in America? Is vasectomy? How much is it? So in Australia, the typical out of pocket is about 420. There you go. Pay up, which converted to US dollars is about 210. So about 210 American dollars is what you'd expect to pay in Australia, which, compared to what, 7 kids is not a lot. How much is it in the US? What? Up to $1,000? A vasectomy in the US can vary wildly from $0 to $3,000. Are you joking? What? Yeah, what the? I knew someone would know. I noticed it too. Yeah. Awesome cheap. What? No. A 2,000 just for a checkup? No. Oh, that is horrible. No, that's not right. That is so not right. I honestly don't know who gave it to you, What the Beck, but you're very welcome. Love socialized healthcare. Yeah. People's health shouldn't be something to make money off. Like, the least we can do is regulate it so you can't just make a shitload of money and by exploiting people. That's wrong. America's got to do something about that. It's absolutely fucked up, in my opinion. That is screwed. No, that's wrong, Andrew. That is so wrong. Like tossing up between, and I have heard of that, and it breaks my fucking heart. I am so, it's so upsetting when I talk to a friend of mine that's in the US, and I'm like, well, go see a doctor, and they're like, well, I may not be able to afford it, and it's like, no, you can't toss up between whether you're going to get food or see a doctor. That's fucked. Like, from my point of view, from where I come from, people would fucking riot in the street if that was the case. Like if you had no option to get healthcare, or else you had to miss out on, food or water or something like, people would be absolutely livid. Livid. Yeah, they also need to get them out of the political system as well. I think that's the main problem. I think the main problem with capitalism is it's this influence on politics. The corporate world should not have the influence on politics that it does, because they give tons of money that I see basically as bribes to the political parties, that they use them to get themselves more money through stopping regulations and allowing them to do all kinds of stuff, and then they use that extra money to create to lobby for less regulations and all of this stuff. It's just a cyclical effect. It's absolutely terrible, and it's getting out of control. Yeah, I kind of agree. Deviant. But yeah, no, that shocked me, Andrew. I think the other one was insulin. How much insulin is in the US is outrageous. Like it's just outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Yeah, the average price is 98.70, which is 10 times the price in 32 other countries. It's insane. Insane. I really feel for people, It's like about $15 American in Australia. It's yeah. Yeah, and the real sad part is a lot of people turn to, praying to God instead of getting healthcare, because God's a lot cheaper. Doesn't work, but it's a lot cheaper. Could work for you. You never know. All right, I'll do one more because I feel kind of spicy now. That shocks me, Andrew. I'm shocked and appalled. I'm every time I hear it, I'm shocked more. Be honest with you, especially for something like vasectomy. It's absolutely terrible. Okay, Working Raccoon says, am I the asshole for refusing to invite my brother's fiance to my wedding because of her Instagram account? What? Her Instagram account? Your brother's fiance? What could you possibly put on an Instagram account that would stop them from being invited to a wedding? So here's the situation. My 28 female wedding, well, your 28 female, not the wedding. The wedding is asexual or agender. It's not gendered at all. Do you think if a wedding had a gender, what would the gender be? Would it be a non-binary? I think it would be non-binary, right? Anyway, coming up in a few months, and I've been planning it over a year with my fiance, Jake, male. 29 male, in fact. Everything's been going smoothly except for one major issue with my brother's 30 male fiance, Amber, 27 female. Dun, dun, dun. Amber has a large following on Instagram where she posts very revealing photos of herself. So what? She's been into fitness modeling for a few years now, and I have no issue with her career. I feel uncomfortable with some of the attention it brings. What? I don't. For example, at my engagement party, she showed up in a tight mini dress and spent half the night live streaming the event to her followers, some of whom were commenting, let's just say inappropriately. I didn't say anything then, but it made me feel awkward. Okay, that's where you should have said something. You should have said something. Your engagement party is not a live streaming event for somebody else. You've got to make that clear. Like, if people are there, like, you wouldn't expect someone to show up at your party and then, do their physics in the corner. Like, if you're going to the party, you're going to the party. If you want to live stream, go to a live streaming event. Go to somewhere they allow you to live stream. Go to a restaurant. You can do anything you want there. Jake and I have been envisioning a fairly private and family-orientated wedding. We don't want anything about it going on social media. We also don't want Amber's followings gawking at our wedding photos or seeing our special day as just another shoot for a profile. I spoke to her privately and asked if she'd agree to keep her phone away during the ceremony and reception. She brushed me off saying, "It's my brand, it's who I am," and she made no promises. Well, then she can't come. That's a boundary. If like that would annoy me as well. That would annoy me as well. If somebody like would come to an event and then sort of just live stream. You know, that's not what you're there to do. You're just sort of interrupting people, and it's not like this event is not for your your profit and your you know thingo. It's for the people getting married. This has been weighing on me a lot, so I told my brother if she can't respect my request, I prefer she not attend. He exploded in accusing me of judging her lifestyle and her career. He also said that if she can't come, he might not come either, and now my whole family is furious with me. Jake supports me, but he's worried it will cause permanent damage with my brother. So, am I the asshole for refusing to invite my brother's fiance because of her social media behavior? No, no. If you don't want it recorded and you're getting, say, photos done and hiring a professional photographer, for instance, you might not want somebody to broadcast your private event. You always have control over your private event. Maybe you can come to a compromise and say, hey, you know, you can do this at the reception, but not like and plus, what if other people don't want to be filmed? This is something you've got to take into consideration. Not everybody wants to be filmed. Now, this gets complicated because what are the rules? And I want to make this clear. I'm not a lawyer. All I have is my general knowledge of the law in the US and Australia. If you don't want to be filmed at a private event, you have a right not to be filmed. So there's an expectation of privacy. If you're out in public, you don't have that expectation of privacy. If you're in a private event, you may have an expectation of privacy, and it gets complicated. But I'm not sure I would want to be filmed at a wedding either, unless it's for the bride and groom. I'm not sure I want to show up on some random person's Instagram feed. You know, I really don't. You know, it's some women might not want to, especially if she has followers that are there that are very, very thirsty. Let's put it that way. They may not, like the bridesmaids, may not want to come up on that Instagram feed. I don't think that is the right thing to do. Is to just allow anybody to film whatever at a private function. You know, I don't know. It's yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't do that. If my brother said, "Hey, you know, I know that you're on YouTube and I don't want you filming at my wedding," I'm like, "No problem." I don't know why I would insert my work into your event. Um, you know, I it's very strange to me that you would be sort of inserting your work into their event kind of thing, right? Um, you know, if you had a brother that was a bouncer, would you know you expect him to come to your wedding and then stand at the door the entire time? No, he's there to attend your wedding, not do his job. I don't. It's very, very strange to me. I don't get that. It seems disrespectful to go to somebody's wedding and then, oh, I got through the last poll. Posted the right thing. Okay, okay. I disagree, but you're cool. We can disagree. That's fine. I'll start a poll for this one. Is the poster right for refusing her Insta sister in law? wedding. Uh, and I mean, it's not like she hasn't talked to her and said, "Hey, this is what I don't want at my wedding." Like, if someone's being unreasonable, like, you know, if you have maybe like if you have a marquee, right, or an inside and outside to the wedding, you may say, "Hey, feel free to, you know, stream off the premises," kind of thing, like in the gardens or whatever. I don't know where this wedding is, but in the gardens or downstairs or out of the main room, feel free to stream. If it's at a ballroom or something, feel free to stream in the corridors or elsewhere in the hotel or wherever it's at. Like, feel free to go do that. I'm not sure streaming in the actual place is the right thing to do. Let's see. What's Reddit got to say? Not the arsehole. Just to be clear, you're not refusing to invite her due to her account. You're refusing to invite her because of her behavior and her refusal to make assurances that she'll respect your privacy at your own wedding. This is your wedding. Your comfort is far more important than her brand. If you don't want your wedding streamed to her account, that is your right. You have every right to ask guests to refrain from behavior like live streaming during the event and use discretion to respect the bride and groom when it comes to what they post on social media. If Amber won't agree to those very reasonable parameters, then most people consider basic modern etiquette, then she doesn't need to be there. And this will probably not be the last time her behavior gets her excluded from an event until she learns how to act right. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And I don't know who goes to a wedding and wants to work. Like, who wants to work at a wedding? You go to a wedding, you relax, you talk with people, as much as possible, you enjoy the thing. I don't know who works at a wedding. It's just odd to me. A wedding's kind of one of those things where you just put your work aside and you go and try to have some fun, kind of thing, and enjoy the moment with people that are dear to you. I don't get why you'd want to work through that. It's a lovely thing, a wedding. It's really nice. Not the arsehole. Jake and I have been envisioning a fairly private and family orientated wedding. Just another shoot. That's more than fair. If she can't stop marketing herself and her brand for one day and live streaming people without their consent, then she doesn't have to be invited. Your brother decided not to come either, then so be it. Enjoy your special day. Yeah, kind of with her. Not the asshole, but Amber most certainly is. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It is simple cursing up to live stream, post photos, etc. of somebody else's event without their express consent. It's your wedding. It's your day. If she can't manage that, she should not attend. If the brother also chooses not to attend, that's his decision. They'll both miss out. You'll have a I kind of agree. It's not that her lifestyle at all. It's not her. It's not. It's not. Um, it's not who she is. It's what she's doing. And I know that Lynn recently went to a restaurant with her mum, and there were people live streaming there. She said it was kind of irritating, but they just ignored it, kind of thing. I can't imagine what that would be like at a wedding. It would be terrible. It's not my brand, it's who I am, and she made no process. Not the arsehole. She is not being respectful at all. It's fine to put her own life on blast, but not yours. Wow. Maybe instead of not inviting her, maybe make it a cell phone camera free wedding. Yeah, but that means other people can't take pictures, and they may want to do that. It's still like changing the wedding to be around this idiot, this idiot that can't seem to stop streaming every second of her life. Like, seriously, don't change the wedding at all. Just make it absolutely clear. I'm sorry that you're feeling I'm not entitled to keep my wedding day private from the thousands of random strangers that follow your fiance online. Anyone who agrees with you is not invited to the ceremony and stay away from me. Change as needed. Kind of, yeah. It's rude to hijack someone else's event for your own purposes. It kind of is, yeah. Like, she's not inviting that person to come and make the event something on her own thing. She's inviting her to celebrate you getting married. Like, I don't know who would look at a wedding and go, hey, I could make a stream out of that. That's insane. That's insane. I'm sorry, it's insane. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. All right, what has the mob got to say? And yes, I'm calling you the mob. Calling you the mob. Uh, does she have an OnlyFans? Lol. You know what? That's the first thing I thought as well. I thought it was like, oh, she's not very, she doesn't belong at a wedding because she does OnlyFans and will never get married. But no, it's not that bad. Um, Female women have control over everything. I doubt it. I don't think so. I think if women had control over everything, there'd be a lot more women in positions of power. I think that's demonstrably wrong. Wedding would have to be androgynous because it's mostly female and part male. Okay, yeah, that's fair. So she is jealous and she won't be the star at her wedding. Oh, you mean the live streamer? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's about jealousy. I think it's about some live streamers and vloggers get into every single thing that happens in their life has to be presented, to the world kind of thing. I'm way too introverted to even start thinking like that. But I think that even if you are sort of a serial vlogger, you are sort of recording every moment of your life to share with your fans and stuff. I think it's going to be sanitized anyway. I don't think it's a very I don't think it's a very maintainable lifestyle. It's kind of like, well, um, all of this is sanitized to try and give the best image of you that it can give. I mean, there's a lot that I don't sort of share online. I mean, this is a sanitized version of me, of course. I don't show necessarily when I'm upset, when I'm down, when I'm not doing well, when I'm don't feel like streaming because I'm a little depressed and down. All of this kind of stuff. You can't just see somebody and go, oh well, they're presenting all of this online. That's what they're like. Um, I try to be as honest and open as possible, but you don't really know somebody until you know them in real life for a bit. Over the internet, it's not really the case. And people sanitizing their life to present it to the world, it's not right. And sooner or later, like that sort of things come out. You see these live streamers do awful things and they think it's normal. So live streaming from someone else's party is over the line. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think live streaming from someone else's party without their consent is over the line. I think with consent, it's fine. But yeah, maybe a little. I kind of get where you're coming from, Perps, because even if you have the consent of the person whose party it is, does that give you consent to stream everybody else online? It really doesn't. Place a sign at the door, no video recording or live streaming during the wedding reception. Yeah. But what if her mum wants to record for her own, things? The wedding? Yeah, I'll give you that. Okay. The curb is that way. Always is. Very disrespectful in my view. Very disrespectful. Yeah, why? Why? So least you can ask incorporate it to add to the celebration. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can ask to be the sort of recorder kind of thing. You used to foist your camera onto the nephew and get them to interview people for it. And say some things about the bride and groom. She could possibly do that, but I don't know if they want to do that going on to there. But that might be an idea. I mean, if they want to interview people and say, hey, how do you know the bride and groom? What do you think of, how do you think they're going to go? What do you think of the celebration? She could do that, but then it wouldn't be about her, right? And she wouldn't be able to put her brand on it. So, here's the thing about brands. Okay, one of my favorite shirt is a shirt that says brand, and people go, "Oh, that's clever. You've got a brand name shirt," and it's like, no, you're not. That's not why it says brand. Okay. The reason why it says brand is it's trying to make you think about how you view me. How would you view me if that brand said Adidas as opposed to that brand said NASA? Right? What would you think of me? What would you think if that brand um, um, said some other, Bad Dragon or Pornhub, right? What would your how would you see me differently depending on what that brand says? Brands aren't real. They're not a thing. They're associations that we have made in order to associate concepts with what's called semiology, signs and signals. So we have a sign, we associate concepts with it. So the whole idea of branding is that you associate athleticism, power, strength with Adidas. When you show Adidas, that's what people think of, athletics. That's the association in their mind. And all of marketing and advertising is designed to get you to associate something with a brand. And it's not real. I am still the same person, whether I do have Adidas on my shirt as I do have NASA on my shirt. Nothing's changed. But how do you see me differently is the question. It's an interesting question to me. Anyway, tangents in the chat. In the US is complicated, very state. Yeah, but generally across the US, the expectation of privacy is that out on the street, if you're in the public, you have no expectation of privacy. Anything that you can see from the street, like if your windows are open, you have no expectation of privacy. But inside private property, you do have an expectation of privacy. Generally speaking, that is the case. I don't mind if I don't show up on film or video. It is awkward. You don't show up on film or video. It is awkward. Okay. It also sounds like a live stream would be drawing attention away from the bride, and that is the ultimate wedding taboo. Yeah, but I don't, I get that it might be disruptive, and that's a problem. I don't really get with this whole, well, it's all about the bride on the wedding day. What about the groom? Why isn't the groom celebrated on the wedding day? Poor groom. It's like it's all about the bride. 2 people are getting married here, motherfucker. Like, seriously, what is this thing about it's all about the bride? I don't understand. There is a groom here. I didn't realize you're a vampire. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe you wanted to and is a good bouncer. Yeah, but you wouldn't do that. Like, maybe you wanted to, sure. Don't do it. Yes, at the wedding, the brothers are expected to be bouncers, only they call them ushers. Well, the whole tradition of marriage, to go back to the first one where, what was the guy's name? Was it David kept explaining fun facts? So fun fact, the brothers, the best man was supposed to be your best warrior to like fight for you if you needed it. And the bridal party, the groomsmen were the best fighters, so they could fight off anyone trying to disrupt the wedding or the thing. So technically, yeah, it was that they were bouncers, or at least a raiding party kind of thing. Both couples should sit down together and say, "Hey, we really want you at our weddings, but we don't want you to stream the ceremony." Yeah. But it sounds like the fiance, the streamer's fiance, is right on board with her being able to stream it. Trying to gain followers from the bride's friends and family. I don't think so. I think it's more just trying to entertain her followers with somebody else's event that she happens to have been invited to. It's not work for an excessive attention whore. Okay, well, you could be right there. My sister's wedding would literally have fallen apart if I'd not been able to instantly produce a tool and do a string of repairs and assemblies when the venue dropped the ball. Wow. Okay, that's cool. Perps, you surprised me. That's delightful. That's awesome. I wish I had that kind of amazing ability. Pics are okay, and the photographers basically video the entire event anyway. Yeah. Hello, Sydney Raptors. So good to see you. I think what Beck meant was at the wedding, women are in charge of everything. Well, that's true. Yeah, okay. No, that's fair. I stand corrected. That is true. I don't think I've been at a wedding where the women haven't been in charge of anything. Like our wedding, my sister or my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, just took control of the whole thing. That wasn't really because she was a woman. It was just who she was. She worked as an emergency nurse, very capable emergency nurse, and just takes control of everything. And it's absolutely wonderful. She's not overbearing. She'll listen to feedback. If you're like, hey, just leave this to us, she's totally fine with it. Just she likes to just get things sorted out, and I really appreciate her. I liked my wedding. It was good. It was really good. I've been lurking. This is social. I'm there with you, buddy. I'm introverted as well. I'm there with you, mate. People who photograph their fruit is just freaking strange. You know what? I've done it upon like once or twice kind of thing. I was gonna post something that I cooked to my Discord, but I kind of photographed it and didn't get round to it because I don't do a lot of it. I don't really mind. I don't really mind. They just want to share things with people. It's interesting. Oh, being a social media influencer is selling a fantasy. Showing reality will kill the brand. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Left-handed Jedi gifted 5 read ships. Thank you so much, Jedi. I really appreciate it. And that hits Sir Little Wolf. President Sunday. Wow. Mage Grey Wolf. You hit the wolves. It's all wolves all day. Hamad Ahmed and Massive Atom. Awesome. Thank you so much, Left-handed Jedi. I really appreciate it, mate. You are a champ. And all the turkeys. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Anything is okay as long as it's a consenting adult. To stream a party, you need to be sure you have consent of everyone present. I kind of lean towards that way, Perps. Perhaps if it is a sort of event that's been scheduled and you have somebody who is the person that put on the event, I think having the person who is holding the event's permission, and then people, if they're upset, they can take it up with the person holding the event. I'm not sure, but yeah, in a sort of private, casual party kind of thing, I kind of agree. If it's a formal event, I kind of think the event organizer would have sway over that. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It probably would be polite and a good etiquette to put, if somebody's going to be filming, put somewhere on the invite, this event will be filmed, would be a good idea. But if just a casual get together, I do agree with you. Yes. The only brand I ever wear in public is Menards, and that's because I do shop there every week and they give me free stuff, including the t-shirts. Oh, look, there's no problem with branding. I don't have a big problem with it. My problem is with people not understanding how much branding can influence the way they look at somebody or judge somebody, kind of thing. I don't get swayed by branding anymore. I will happily wear a Target shirt. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care where shirts and stuff comes from. I don't need to have brands. I will wear a Target shirt. It doesn't worry me. I don't need a brand. I don't need to pay for one. It doesn't worry me, because that shirt will do. It doesn't matter. A lot of D&D shirts, oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that's just a brand, and things are associated with it, like geekiness and creativity and all this other stuff. I totally get it. It's fine. And it doesn't mean that brands are things that are wrong. It's just like we have to be careful not to look at a brand and expect certain things or judge certain things about those people. Someone may wear a D&D shirt and not even play D&D. They just like the art on it. It's fine. I personally love some shirts that I've got that are like sort of artistic shirts. One is a combination between, one of my favorite shirts. It's like a combination between Totoro and Godzilla. So they have the bridge kind of thing that, you know, in Godzilla in the movie is crashing it down, but it's Totoro. And I love that shirt. I think it's wonderful. Not going to buy any clothing, expect me to pay the company to advertise for them. Yeah, no, totally get it. What if I'm wearing my brand of apparel since my brand is art? Well, so in order to associate, you've got to do marketing to associate concepts with that brand. So unless you're doing that, no one's going to recognize the brand anyway, Andrew, which is probably a shame, but, you know, because your art's amazing. But, you know, it's possible. But I want to differentiate between shirts with art on it and shirts with brand on it. Brand's just a logo. You know, it's Subway or sort of NASA or Target or, you know, any of these brand kind of stuff. That's not the same as art. Brands are purely sort of a recognition device for company product. It's not art. Like, let's face it. People have been taken to court for being naked in their own home because someone saw them through a window. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's why they have a huge bash for the groom. What, the stag's night? Yeah, that's true. But they do have a hen's night as well. So, you know, actually, they were a raiding party. They were charging to abduct the bride from a home and try to finish the wedding before the parents could get it back. Yeah, yep. Perps knows where it's at. Usually the bride and honor that makes all the decisions. On the wedding day, the maid of honor has to step up and make sure the bride doesn't know about any advances. Okay, 40 years. Home repairs. Wow. Yeah, I think that if the organizer does that, I would think that is the right thing to do. Absolutely. With all the people walking around with guns wearing Target shirt is a highly questionable decision. But it doesn't have the brand on it. It just is a Target shirt. It's very, very nondescript. The problem with brands is corporations are immoral, and when the company is caught doing horrible, no one takes any responsibility. Well, that's going into a whole tangent with you know, corporate responsibility and corporate personhood, which is just ridiculous. I'm an archaeologist, and if you tell me it's not okay for me to bring my trowel to your mum's funeral, it's my work. Archaeologists going to archaeologize. Can't promise they won't excavate the graveyard. Yeah, please don't, Deviant. Please don't. There might be a reason why you're an outcast. Just saying. And how did my lovelies feel about that one? Post did the right thing. Yeah, I think so too. I think setting those boundaries. If it's going to make you resentful, make a boundary. Say you can't have it. Well, those were interesting. Mostly they're about, you know, this whole idea of people going beyond these boundaries and sort of, you know, expecting things. People's actions means that you don't want to invite them to places and things like that. Again, it's weddings and birthdays that are just a moral minefield in these things. Always weddings. Weddings, apparently you can do so much wrong in weddings. But yeah, I did enjoy that. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. A big thanks for Left-Handed Jedi for those subs as well. It really does make a difference, and it really does encourage me. So they are amazing. Thank you all so much for joining me. My camera's gone out of focus for some reason. It must be, I'm so immoral, I'm out of focus. It's terrible. But thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, be kind to yourself. Maintain those boundaries. Don't assume that people know the boundaries and are stepping on them intentionally or stepping over them intentionally. But don't hesitate to keep them up and sort of maintain those boundaries. See if there's any way you can come to a compromise. But at the end of the day, don't assume that they know and are intentionally violating your boundaries, because they might just not know. And sort of when you do respond, it's best to make clear that that's a boundary is not negotiable. But, you know, instead of saying, hey, you're horrible for doing this, because they might not be aware of that. But thanks so much, everybody. Oh, hi, Robin. Robin coming in last minute. Hashtag communication. Absolutely. Absolutely. So take care, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.